Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice Podcast. My name is Elle, and I am back again to read some Law of One material and share with you my reflections on it. So today I'm going to read you some Quo material. It's a little different from the raw material in that it's just conscious channeling instead of unconscious channeling. There may be a little bit more bias from the channeler, so just take it with a grain of salt and, use your discernment as usual. Now, today's quote is actually a continuation of the post that I posted on Instagram yesterday, which if you're listening to this in the future, that probably doesn't make any sense. So this is from session 2008, October 11th. And this one, I guess, is mostly about accepting yourself and your emotions. It's about not pushing so hard forward when in fact you're not necessarily ready. It's like sometimes we like to see ourselves as perfect spiritual beings, and a perfect spiritual being would never be mad or sad or whatever, right? Which is totally erroneous. So let's go into that, and I will read you this quote to begin with. So this is from Quo. Like I said, 2008, October 11th. You can get all of this material through my website, theoneinfinitecreator.com, and then I have links to all of the LL research material. You can download and read this all for free. Okay, so the quote begins. There will be times when it will seem that your energy body is ill. Let it be ill. Enter into the exhaustion, the depression, or whatever condition which is afflicting your energy body at a particular moment. It is not necessary to behave or to feel in a certain way. So often, spiritual students attempt to maintain a positive point of view on the level of behavior. They simply scoop the inconvenient motions out of the way so that they will be able to perceive themselves as wise, metaphysically correct seekers. While we encourage you to tweak the thoughts as they come through you and to help yourself to find better versions of your own truth, we do encourage you, above all, to witness to your own truth, whatever that may be. If you are in a bad way, it is not the end of the spiritual world. And it is far better to allow yourself to heal, to move through that huge amount of catalyst that has somehow gotten stuck in your system, than to try to hurry it, even if you are feeling perfectly miserable. It is far better to allow the natural flow of your own energy body to move that through your system as it really feels to do without your asking your energy body to put a rush on it and to get rid of the feelings that you did not want. All of your feelings have gifts in their hands, even the most crushing and cruel. There is for the doughty seeker a lesson in everything. And doughty means brave, persistent, fearless. So there is for the doughty seeker a lesson in everything. Quo, end of quote, 2008, October 11th. Okay, so I guess you already get the point right there. I already gave you a little prelude as to what I'm talking about, and that is it. So, we like to think of ourselves as seeking perfection in a way. I think maybe that's just a misconception, right? Like let's think of some things. So the creator is perfection. The creator is complete, undistorted light, love, if you will, and then we are a distorted version of love and light. So, sometimes it seems that we are wanting to just get rid of our distortion, to be undistorted, to be perfect. However, we are in the third density in which we are here to learn lessons of love. So before you incarnate in third density, you're not behind the veil. So you kind of have this full knowledge of the entire universe and everything. Now with that comes the all-knowing, right? Like you're in a way, you're somewhat undistorted. To what degree that your soul is undistorted, and you purposely enter into distortion. You purposely enter into this third density incarnation behind the veil where you forget everything so that you can be confused. The idea of the confusion, like they even call it the law of confusion, the law of free will, they're the same thing. You being confused maximizes your free will. And it's not necessarily the confusion that does it, it's just the not knowing. It's when you don't know the truth for certain, for absolute certainty in your heart, in your head, then you're left to your own devices. You're left to use your intellect and your intuition and your heart and all that good stuff. And in between that, you make choices, and those choices that you make are sort of the lessons of love that you're here to learn. So with that, we sometimes think that we are seeking perfection. But I would suggest that's actually not the case. So remember, I said the third density, and we're stepping into the fourth density of compassion, of other self, of love and understanding. That would be us learning lessons of love. And learning lessons of love is not necessarily learning to be a perfect spiritual entity. I mean, I believe that comes in later densities and later times. So what we should really be focusing on is whether we are, loving beings, whether we can see love, whether we have that wider perspective that sees that every catalyst, every experience that comes our way is a lesson of love. And it's not there to just be cruel and to make you a victim of circumstance. It's that, everything within your purview is there for you to grow and to learn. And I want to talk about how in the previous quote, which is from this same session, they talk about how, if you've been wronged or you've been misunderstood, they say you have a choice, right? You can be like, I've been misunderstood. How dare that person do that to me? They're so wrong to do that. And that may be correct. However, you don't have, you're not in charge of that other person, right? So all you have is your free will, and you only have sort of the control over yourself. Now, with that, if somebody wrongs you, well, it's not necessarily up to you to show that other person how they've wronged you, but you can internalize that and in turn seek to just do better yourself. So, as you are misunderstood, seek to understand others better. As you feel you are wronged, try to act rightly towards others. If you're feeling down and maybe you need to be lifted up, maybe go lift somebody else up. Do something nice for somebody else, right? And you'll probably find that you'll lift them up and yourself up at the same time, which is the beauty of this service to others seeking, is that it somewhat solves the paradox. It doesn't mean that one person has to leech off of another. We, in our service and unity and knowing that we are all together brothers and sisters in this, we serve each other, and through service, it brings purpose and meaning to yourself, and at the same time helps the other person see whatever it is there to see from the interaction. So, I'm kind of getting a bit off topic as this quote is sort of focusing on, which is to sort of go with the flow. So I will just go into that a little bit, which is that there are the two paths. There's the path of service to self, and then there's the path of service to others. So if, assuming you're listening to this, I seek to help you on the service to others path, and that is the path that I feel that I am on. So just knowing the mechanisms of these two things, which we'd have to go into a lot of deep philosophy about it, but the service to self path, every experience that comes within their realm is for them to control. If you're on the service to others path, everything that comes within your realm is for you to accept. Okay, so there's control versus acceptance. And maybe this helps you understand why just trying to push through negative emotions is somewhat of a control thing, right? It's not necessarily in your best interest. I would suggest in your best interest is to accept that emotion, find where it fits within you, see if there's some folly, anger, see if you can bring that up from anger up into your personal chakra, the community, to love. That's kind of the point of Catalyst, is to bring it from wherever it is in your lower energy body, accept and love it to a degree that it doesn't just stick in that lower survival fear down there in the lower parts of your energy body. You bring it up to okay, there's a meaning for this I can, so let's take this, right? An experience comes your way, it's bad. So I'm scared. I'm in my red chakra. Okay, I'm in the very lowest chakra. It's like the lowest perception. Oh my gosh, fear. my life is in jeopardy. Okay. So then you would take that and you can move it up to the next one, which is that, like, okay, how does this affect me? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And then we can move it up to the next one, which is that how can I apply these lessons to other selves that I know? How can I apply this lesson to my community? How can I express this in a healthy way, in a communal basis, I suppose? And you can bring it up into your heart. How does this experience relate to love and compassion and universal love? Am I able to accept this distortion within myself because I'm one with everything, and so that distortion also lives within me? So this is the idea, right? We can be stuck in the lower chakras with our catalyst, or if we're aware that every catalyst has somewhat of a lesson somewhere within it, a lesson of love, we can slowly learn to bring it up into the higher chakras. But I would suggest that you don't do that by controlling and forcing it up there. You do it through acceptance. It's like flow. What is that cartoon I saw a long time ago? I posted it on my Instagram video a couple years ago. This is this cartoon show basically, but they're explaining the chakras to Aang, and I just can't think of the show right now. But anyways, they show the 7 or 8 pools of water, right? So there's like a river running into a circular pool, which then runs into another circular pool, and in between each of them, there's little connecting streams, and those connecting streams have leaves and junk all in the, stuck in between. So it's almost like the water flows into the bottom chakra and it sits there and it circulates and it circulates. And, as you accept and love and learn to, I suppose, accept the catalyst as it is and not dwell on it in that area, it's almost like you've taken the leaves and the dirt that is connecting that chakra to the next pool of water, that pool of water to the next pool of water, and, you pull that out, and now the water can flow up into that next area. So this is the idea, right? It's not that we're grabbing those leaves and smashing them out of there. It's that we're through love and acceptance, we're able to, I don't know, just dissolve those things. I don't give you some kind of weird metaphor for this, but you see what I'm getting. So they say here, while we encourage you to tweak the thoughts as they come through you and to help yourself to find better versions of your own truth, we do encourage you above all to witness to your own truth, whatever that may be. So work through your emotions, have patience with yourself. You can't be a perfect entity at all times. Sometimes your human aspect wants to step in the way and you need to be angry or depressed or whatever for the day, right? I was having a rough couple of, just having like a rough couple of days, and so I just took the time to just sit with this energy, right? Like I am pushing forward and doing good things that I think are helpful for my sort of mental attitude, but at the same time, I don't want to push too hard through it. I'm okay to just feel a little bit down and just work through it. It's okay. Like sometimes I feel down and other times we're up, and I'm just grateful for the times that I'm up, and I try to remember those times when I'm down as well. Because they say here, it is far better to allow yourself to heal, to move through that huge amount of catalyst that has somehow gotten stuck in your system, than to try to hurry it, even if you are feeling perfectly miserable. It is far better to allow the natural flow of your own energy body to move that through your system as it really feels to do with your asking your energy body to put a rush on it and to get rid of the feelings that you did not want, right? So if you're just trying to suppress things, get rid of them, I would suggest you're trying to do a control thing. I should have looked up that Raw quote, which complements this whole thing quite nicely, which states basically to control things is a shortcut. Well, wow, I can't believe I kind of forgot it, but it's a shortcut, and it doesn't really get you there any faster, actually. You'll find that you'll end up having to go back and repeat the lesson. So, as you attempt to control and think, I'm perfect, this lesson is above me, you're going to have that lesson probably come back at you again in another form, because the Creator is infinite and there is no escaping your lessons. Maybe keep that in mind. If you feel like you keep running up against the same thing over and over again, maybe consider that you're possibly controlling a little too much and you haven't fully worked through it and accepted it as it is. So, I think that's good for now. just wanted to share with you guys as I'm recording this. It's in the morning, and I'm looking out my window. There's a tree, and I see a woodpecker just hanging out, cleaning himself, which is weird. I usually don't see woodpeckers around here, so that's pretty cool. All right, guys, thank you for listening. It is Friday, so I hope you have a lovely weekend. I think I'm kind of on to doing 2 podcasts a week at this point. It gives me a bit more time to think about topics and maybe just give a little bit more of a, I suppose, like an in-depth or a more thoughtful podcast. So if you guys appreciate my service, I appreciate you listening. You can please join my Patreon. You can send me a one-time love donation through PayPal link. It's all on the oneinfinitecreator.com. I have a little store there if you want to pick up an Ankh t-shirt or this, the center is the heart, the center shirt that I created. Anyways, I seek to freely give this info out to all of you, and I don't ask anything in return unless you freely feel you want to give it. And I really like this formula because it seems to respect the free will of all involved, and I really do believe that freely giving it's important. It's nature of the heart. I'm trying to give things without expectation of return, which isn't always hard as a human. So, I do still appreciate the return, and if not, that's all good too. I love you guys regardless. Give us a like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. That always helps too. Thank you guys. We'll talk again next week. Take care.